So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined by a member of the band Mastiff. His name is Phil Johnson, and he's the guitar player. And we're here to talk about the brand new album that is going to be released in the month of March. And I already heard the album. It's called The Precipice. It's pretty brutal album. So Phil, how are you over there?
Yeah, good. It's 8:30 on a Friday evening, and I've been to the pub already, had a couple of beers, and just looking forward to chatting about the album.
Good, good. It's still here early to go to the pub, but later. So I listened to the album, and this is a very. I was reading some of the inspiration behind the album because a lot of the albums were inspired in the last years because of COVID and lockdowns, but this album was actually inspired by real life tragedy. I was reading about the singer losing his 5-year-old, five-day old son,
Yeah, that's
and
correct.
another of the guitar players losing his mother. Uh, so, uh, so this fueled part of the album. I listened to the album, and yeah, it has a. I think the album title goes with the themes, the precipice, because you like at the. It feels like you're at the edge of falling for something. So, pretty interesting stuff. So, you told me offline that there's one song on this album that you wrote.
Yeah, the I think the lyrics for "Everything Is Ending," which is rather than it being as introspective and sort of personally emotive as some of the other tracks that the vocalist wrote the lyrics for, or the other guitar player that obviously suffered a tragedy wrote the lyrics for. Mine was a little bit more about the desensitizing nature that kind of social media has on people, and just these horrible things people see every day posted on social media, and how it's having a really numbing effect on people, and I think maybe making people a little bit less human. Just these horrible videos that you see of police brutality or whatever it might be, and there's just this constant flow of really negative energy that's accessible through social media and the digital media generally. And I kind of just wrote some lyrics about that kind of idea about people's morals and people's emotions being twisted because of what they're exposed to so frequently. I think it's a really worrying part of society that there is just this constant flow of really horrific imagery and things that people can access, and often are not looking to access. It's more sort of forced upon them. So that was the track "Everything Is Ending," which is a little bit of a background into that.
No, but it's very interesting, and it's very what you mentioned what it's about. I don't know if you remember, but back in the 90s, before the internet, there were some disturbing videos that I had a friend that liked them. I didn't like them, called Faces of Death, and they were horrible videos of actually you saw like people dying, horrific stuff. And my friend was into this, and I'll never get why. And it goes with what you're saying now. Back then, if you like, you could search for, you had to dig deep to find that. Now you could click on Google or something, and you can find horrific things at the click of a button, which is very disturbing when you think of it. Like, and I agree with you. Like, people get desensitized to
I think
violence.
I think it's in, yeah, I think it's really damaging. I think it absolutely erodes anyone's empathy because you just become numb to it all.
No, it happens
Almost,
in
it's,
so many
it's terrible.
areas. Like, for example, now with the horrible things that are happening in Gaza, uh, they put that on TV, and people are like desensitized. That there's children dying, homes are being destroyed, and I saw the other day a article that apparently they're trying to sell some parts of that strip to like build on the places that are being destroyed, to build like nice condos for the future for like a beach properties. And it's people are fucking dying, and you're thinking about money and condos. So yeah, it's a I think society as a whole has become so desensitized in the last 20 years that it's yeah it just looks like people something that would shock you back then, it doesn't shock you now.
Yeah, and it's just hugely worrying, and that's massively the sort of I suppose the album goes from social comment into personal loss. So there's a really varied kind of sort of subject matter for the lyrics as far as that goes. It's really, really, really varied, and it's nice that um, different members of the band can all have a bit of input into the words and thing, into the lyrics. I think that's it makes a quite a cohesive record rather than it becoming too focused on maybe one aspect. It makes a kind of varied record where we've all had a kind of input into that. So I think that's really benefited the album as a whole thing.
Yeah, and also having different members writing material, I think helps and keeps off the pressure of like the lead singer. Like maybe in the future that collaboration can keep happening, and I think it helps the creative process.
Yeah, definitely. Um, People can be more free if they don't feel under pressure. So if people are all contributing, then it would take huge amounts of pressure to come up with 10 sets of words to go with tracks when maybe sometimes you feel like you're pulling a blank or something. But if someone can contribute, that lessens the pressure. And then just from that, I think naturally people can be a bit more freed up when they don't feel under pressure and become more creative and probably more sort of prolific at the same time.
Yeah. What was this your first time writing a song for the band, or have you written some of the songs in your previous materials?
I think there's a couple on the last album that I'd contributed to some lyrics for. I think maybe the track Repulse off the previous album, I'd contributed some lyrics for that one. But I just, if I get a sort of an idea in my mind, I'll um, try and write it out and then send it through. And if people like it or the vocalist likes it, Jim, then he can maybe do something with it. But I think it's just about being a really cooperative band and people not feeling like they have a certain area and people shouldn't approach that certain area. Everyone sort of contributing, working collaboratively. I think it is always for the greater good.
Yeah. I'm seeing, so, like your 2019 album is called Play. You were a little bit ahead.
Yeah, we were quite prophetic in what we what we titled that album. Um, yeah, we had a quite kind of like an in-band joke. We had to be careful with what we call the next album,
Oh my, yeah,
what might happen. So we couldn't
yeah.
call it Cataclysm or something because something
No, no,
really
no.
terrible could happen.
No, but it's something interesting about, plagues is that uh like COVID happened like 100 years of like the plague that was in the other century, the Spanish flu was almost like at the same time. So like it's kind of interesting. Like every 100 years, there's like a big plague. The only good thing about that is that for you and me, if that happens, we'll both be dead. So we won't experience that plague
No,
if there's a
no,
plague.
we've done one, haven't we? We've done COVID.
Oh no, actually, people like I don't know, like I think maybe we're like in the similar age, the 40s age. Like we've experienced the Y2Ks, we like wars, a lot of stuff in 40s, like a lot of things packed into a few years. But yeah, I just find that it's like kind of like a coincidence that happened like 100 years after. So
Yeah.
yeah, this album, the you have a single out right now called Serrated, which it's very brutal, and you have some guest stars on this album. Tell me a little bit about Serrated and how you got the guest star on that track, and a little bit of what the vibe of that track is.
So the collaboration came about with Harry from Burner, who've released a fantastic album, really, really great album on Church Road Records. The name of the album has escaped me right now, but they're called Burner, and really, really technical, really precise sort of mixture of death metal and hardcore. And the first time we saw them, we were all just sort of like amazed by how good they were. And then we played with them once or twice more, and we just kind of put the idea out. Would he like to do some guest vocals on the track? And he was more than up for it. I think he's quite liked the band just personally for a while, and he seemed really pleased to do it. So when we were recording, he just got the train down from London because that's where he's based, and came into the studio and just absolutely sorry if you can hear something, it's my dog barking outside.
Oh, don't worry.
But um, the yeah, he just came down to the studio and absolutely nailed his vocal take. He tried to do it all in one take, and he goes from a
Wow.
really high shrieking register to a really low guttural, and he was trying to do it all in one, but the producer just said, "We'll just separate them, do it separately." And yeah, he nailed that, and he's just a really, really good guy. And then the guitar solo on the track is done by Rob, and he plays in a band called Yersin, and we're actually going on tour with them later in March. And we there was just a part. Sorry, it's not done by Rob. It's done by Dan out of a band called 13, and he just really nailed the guitar solo because neither guitarists in the band are particularly comfortable playing solos. So we just called on a couple of people that could help us out, and Dan came and he did a really, really good job. Really, really good job of it. Um, yeah, we just thought we would go with a solo,
Because the type of
which
music
we
that you
haven't
guys
ever really
play,
done.
yeah, the type of music that you guys play is not like the type of music that has like soloing on it because it's more short,
No,
it's more abrasive, and I don't know like I hope you take this as a compliment, but the serrated track, there's some part of it that reminded me of the first Slipknot album, like in the
hmm.
rawness of it. Uh, so I don't, that's to me what it sounded like. So I'm like, I don't know if this is a compliment for him, but yeah, that's what it sounded to me. But to me,
No, no,
that is
that's cool. That's cool. It's yeah, it's a track that the other guitarist he kind of wrote the track in its entirety, really, which is a little bit different to how we usually write. Normally, somebody comes with an idea, but then we kick it around in a room for a while, and we all sort of contribute. But this one, he'd kind of like pretty much just written the track, so it was certainly as he intended it, I think, and it came out really, really well. And
yeah, it came out
I'm not,
really, really.
have you seen the video for that track, or have you
I
seen the
haven't been
music?
able to see the video, but
It's it's quite funny. Even if we didn't try and make something that's really severe and aggressive or scary, it's we went for quite a humorous comedy kind of approach. So might be
which
worth checking
yeah,
out.
because I saw because it's different because the song is not comic at all. But I'll post the link so people can watch the video.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that'd be cool.
but yeah, I would have like when I told you like if I would have told you like you sounded like the last Slipknot album, you could have told me to fuck off.
Uh, I haven't heard it, so that would be unfair. I haven't. It's
I'm
not an
doing
album that I've
you
heard. So
I'm doing you a favor a favor. Do not listen to it. It's not good. But yeah, no, I like the rawness. And yes, this is an album that is pretty abrasive at times. And I want to show the artwork because the artwork is pretty, it's pretty cool. So here's the artwork, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory. There's a precipice, and someone's falling in it. What I can tell, it's it's pretty glim. So tell me a little bit about the artwork for this album.
So we work with a really good guy based down in Brighton. It's called Spilt Milk, I think, or True Split Milk. I think it's True Spilt Milk Designs. And we'd kind of just given him the name, and that's something that he came up with. Uh, we all felt a little bit bad because he'd been working on something a little bit more intricate, And
Mhm.
this was just another idea that he'd had. And we were all instantly drawn to this version, which I think possibly he'd done a little bit quicker, and he seemed to have taken a lot more time on some of the other designs and ideas he'd had. But we immediately were all just drawn to this one for its kind of striking simplicity, I would probably term it. I think it's a really good looking piece of artwork.
Yeah,
It fits
and
the
it's so
title really
good.
well.
It's so good that you guys didn't put the name of the band on it. This just the artwork, no name. The name of the album is not there either. Was that a conscious decision?
Yeah, I think it, but it kind the art in a sense
Mhm.
encapsulates the name a little bit. So I think it really works for that in that regard. It's a little bit symbolic. It's quite visual, quite striking. Um, and it makes it look, but maybe a little bit more artistic. Some
Yeah.
people may say pretentious, but I don't think so. I like it. I think it's
They're
good.
gonna accuse you of avant-garde artwork, but yeah, no, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It goes with the music, and you can tell someone's falling. So
Mm.
hopefully, nothing like that will happen near where you live, or they'll say like, "Hey, first you had an album plagues, and now this."
Yeah, yeah. A great
Yeah,
big hole opens up in the earth or something like
well, it's
that.
happened.
Yeah.
Str stranger things has happened. So for you guys now, how was the uh, when you guys on writing mode? How was the production of the album? How do you guys do you guys like get together in a room or write, or what is the process for Mastiff?
Generally, the thing we would do is get together in a room, and I might come with some ideas, or Jam, who's the other guitar player, he'll come with some ideas, and we'll kind of share them and kind of kick them around in that room a little bit and see what happens. But the difference with this album was really driven by COVID because we had to write individually quite a lot more. So there are a few tracks that we kind of just came up with independently, sort of at home. And then when COVID ended, we could start practicing them and then eventually record them. So yeah, generally we would turn up to a practice space with some ideas, kick them around, see what happens. There isn't ever generally a huge master plan behind how we go about writing. There's a
Mhm.
always a little bit of an organic process in the room, and I think that's how we're able to create. Whilst the music is abrasive, I think there is some variety in it, and I think
Yeah.
that's probably how we come up with that because we're sometimes a song will go in a way that you were never really expecting it to, and that adds the variety. It doesn't make it too predictable or too kind of cliche, I don't think.
Yeah. And you mentioned the music video, and now I want to share this. This guy kind of looks like George Lucas. And I see
Um,
the ahaha dickheads. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, and I
the
listen to
whole
the song. So yeah,
the premise behind the premise behind the video is that we've been booked for a really inappropriate venue,
ah,
and this guy who kindly he donated us the use of his great big Winnebago camper van to act as a kind of tour bus, and so he pulls in, acts as the bus driver, drops us off, and the venue is just completely inappropriate for Mastiff. It's kind of like they've booked the wrong band, and it's a bit of a comedy video. Yeah, it kind of works quite well. But yeah, he's the driver, and he's laughing at us.
I gotta watch it. I didn't have an I listened to the album a few times, but I didn't watch the music video.
No, no,
But
don't worry.
it,
I think you might get a kick from it. It's quite a laugh.
yeah, I listened to the song and I'm like thinking, yeah, it's a good point because obviously this is not a light-hearted album. And when you see that picture, I don't know why it looks. I thought if I hadn't heard the album and I just saw that picture, I would think that it's a pop punk song. Because usually pop
Yeah, yeah.
punk songs are something like that. So that like if I hadn't listened to the music or anything, I think like, oh, that clearly has to be a pop punk song. But no, it is not, people. So do you think it's good, having such a serious record to have like a video that just poke fun? So everything doesn't have to be serious all the time.
I hugely think so. I mean, the music we make is so kind of abrasive and aggressive. But normally, if people meet us, we're laughing, we're kind of daft, we're quite relaxed, we're quite laid back guys. So we wanted the video to kind of reflect that side to us, rather than if everything is too serious all the time, it could become a little bit dull. Whereas I feel
Yeah.
we've created an interesting juxtaposition between the aggressive music and then the humorous video, and it's just maybe a little bit notable, makes it stand out. It's lots of videos take place in forests that look really like metal, but
That is
we
true.
decided to go with uh, a working man's club,
Yeah.
somewhere that just
Metal
people are not
bands here in
expecting.
Puerto Rico have a problem because Puerto Rico, like we have forests, but they don't look like menacing. We have sunshine. We have the beach. Like just imagine like a really menacing video and then the beach. Like it's kind
That
of,
would work. That would be good.
yeah, it's just different. But yeah, when I think of bands that were serious, for example, in the 90s, Alice in Chains music was quite depressive and serious, but when they were on TV and did like Headbangers Ball, they had a sense of humor.
Hmm.
They had fun. So yeah, it's I think
I think
it's a good thing.
the music can act as the outlet for all of those kind of feelings, and then that
Yeah.
that sort of that's how it serves its purpose. And then in person, people can be fun, can be humorous, have a sense of humor, be kind and warm-hearted, and I think that's absolutely fine.
So in the album, do you have like a track for you that was very hard to write, and the one that you enjoy playing the most?
Difficult to write. I think there's a track called Worship, and that one has a part that we sometimes struggle a little bit with. There's a sort of timing thing of where one thing starts and the next stops. So that was um, probably the trickiest. But my favorite part in any track is in Everything Is Ending, and there is a huge kind of breakdown. The song breaks down, and the drums do something really cool on um the bell of the ride cymbal. It kind of like mimics what the riff does, and then it all kicks in with a great big breakdown. So that's probably my favorite part to play.
Yeah, nice. So for people who want to pre-order the album, so for people that don't know Mastiff, they're a Brutal Metallic Sludge outfit band, and the album's coming out on March 22nd via Mark and Heavy. I don't, it's MNRK Heavy. So it's
Yeah,
coming out.
that's it.
So
MNRK.
yeah, MNRT. So it's coming out almost a month from now. So uh, I'm gonna post the link for the pre-orders because I see that you have like CDs, LPs, everything. So are the vinyls gonna be? Are you gonna have like color variants? Because I feel like for this music, I think like an all black vinyl makes sense.
No, it's I've had, oh, I don't think it's. I can get one for you. I can show you.
Yes, of course. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Um,
If you can show, if you're allowed to show it, yes.
Here
Yeah.
we go. And then the vinyl is.
Not, well, that looks cool. That's a cool looking. Yeah.
So it's kind of tricolor between orange, black, and red.
Yeah, no,
So it's a
like,
tricolor.
yeah, that kind of looks cool. Because it really, well, vinyls nowadays, they have so many colors and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So I'll post the link for people who want to pre-order. And obviously, you already told us that in March, after the album release, you're going on a few dates, a few tours. Are you gonna have like an album release show?
Yeah, in our hometown of Kingston upon Hull in the north of England. So that's at the Polar Bear Music Club. And the past couple of gigs we've done have been really good in the hometown. So hopefully this one will be as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, PJ, I can call you PJ for short. For it was great, chatting with you. I know it's late over there, and I don't know if you want to go out again and go to the pub.
Oh,
Because it's Friday night, and that's what people should be doing on Friday night, having a blast. I haven't been to I've been to London, but I haven't been to the where you guys live. But
the north of England.
yes, I didn't go to the north of England. I did go to London, and I did the tours where they took me to Stonehenge and to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
to the castles, which for me, there's no castles in Puerto Rico. We have forts.
yeah.
So it's pretty interesting seeing that people still live in castles, which is I find it like it's kind of ridiculous being 2024 and people living in castles. But it's been great chatting with you, and I would recommend this album to anyone who likes abrasive music, but with some different tones to it, like you mentioned, because
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. Thank
there's
you. We appreciate that.
yeah, because there's abrasive music that almost killed like the linear sound, but this album has some different styles, which I think is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And I think the guest stars on it also give it a little bit of like a different flavor to it. So before we go, what would you like to tell the fans of Mastiff?
Yep, just 22nd of March, Deprecipice is out, and if anyone wants to order it, we would hugely appreciate it. And also come and catch us. We're playing the 22nd of March in Hull. We're playing the 23rd in Glasgow in Scotland, 24th Edinburgh, Scotland, 27th we're going on to London, 28th we'll be in Brighton, 29th we're going to Bristol, the 30th, we're going to Birmingham, and the 31st, we're playing Nottingham. So we'd hugely appreciate anyone turning up to see us play and buying a t-shirt or buying a record and just coming and having a beer with us.
Yes, cool. Yeah, it sounds like a cool time. So again, PJ, thank you for taking some time to chat with me. So people, the new Mastiff, the 22nd, check it out. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the shield dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you
Thank
and
you.
goodbye.